here's ever been pulled over by some of my friends, the friendly police officers? I have been. I've been pulled over. Raise your hand. Hey, hi. If you've ever been pulled over, raise your hand. Okay. Did you get that panicky feeling of blue lights? Oh no, they're behind me. Now what do I do? What do they want? What did I do? What do they want me to do? Are they really after me? Are they trying to get somewhere else and I'm in their way? Please let it be that, right? Yeah, I still get that feeling. Don't worry. Well, we're going to talk today about what you need to know about traffic stops as a motorist, because you all drive, right? Most of you drive. Okay. There we go. Why would they be pulling you over? That's the big question, right? Traffic violations, equipment violations, could be a welfare check. Could be that your vehicle matches the suspect description. Oh, never had thought about that. It could be just a roadblock or a checkpoint. Sometimes they do roadblocks or checkpoints for seat belts, for DUI violations. Sometimes there's a fugitive in the area, so they're checking vehicles to make sure that the people in the vehicle are not the fugitive, or that the fugitive has not hitched a ride with somebody against that driver's wheel. A traffic violation. What could be a traffic violation? Somebody already said speeding, lead foot, right? That might have been why I got stopped that time that I got stopped. It might have been. It might not have been, but it might have been. Lane use violations. You ever seen somebody get in the turn lane at about, I don't know, here, and they're going to turn left up by U-Haul? Yeah, they drive in the turn lane for a block or two. That's not what it's for. If you'll look at the turn lane, there is a break in the line. That's the entrance point to the turn lane. Now, in this town, with some of our traffic congestion that we have, some people use the center turn lane as a merge lane. Can't say that that's really legal, but it happens. And we understand that that happens. So if you do it in as safe a manner as possible, we probably won't get too upset with you. However, if you cause a wreck, guess whose list of contributing factors is going to get marked?
Yeah.
Probably
Sometimes
yours.
if you don't get in that turn lane, everybody else has already got in that turn lane, and when you get up there to get where it's supposed to, you can't get in.
You're right. Hopefully our great bridge over Broad is going to take care of that in that section of town. Hey, they're getting there. They're getting there. I see more and more concrete getting poured. Could be unsafe driving in general. What would we consider unsafe driving? Aggressive driving, yes. Swerving in and out of traffic, making aggressive, sudden, erratic lane changes. Tailgating, following too close, yes. Why is following too close an issue?
Because if you want to stop, they're going to.
Reaction time. If they go to stop, you have to be in control of your vehicle in order to stop without hitting them. Yeah, so you got to have that space, that reactionary space. Space equals time when you're in motion. Not using your turn signals could be unsafe. You know, if you're just slowing down and you're going to turn right into somewhere, that may not be a big deal, but if you're stopped in the middle of the lane because you're trying to make a left-hand turn, you don't have a signal on, what are you doing?
Nobody knows.
What are you trying to do? Nobody knows what you're doing. Signals are there to communicate with the other drivers what your intentions are. How about people talking on the phone, eating, texting, putting on makeup, shaving, reaching for their child's toy in the back floorboard, reading a book, yes. I did work a wreck where a guy told me that the reason he rear-ended the car in front of him at a red light was because he was reading the paper. He saw movement out of the corner of his eye. He thought the light had turned green, so he stepped on the gas. The light was red the whole time. And he was not happy when he got his accident report, and I had noted that. Driver number one stated that and I quoted him, and he was not happy because his insurance was not happy. Neither was the lady that he had hit. I mean, I'm sorry, don't be reading the paper and not paying attention. Now, if you're stopped at a red light and you glance at something or you check a map or whatever, while you're stopped, that's fine. But look up and see what's going on before you start to go. Yes, you don't need to be reading a map while you're driving down the road. Don't drive with your knee. and read the map. It doesn't work very good. Could be an equipment violation. Headlight looks like this car up here. You know, you're driving around with that, we've got a problem. We understand that sometimes vehicles get damaged and you can't get them fixed immediately. Do the best you can, and then if you're running around with that headlight, you probably need to be home by dark. We can handle that during the day. Get your business done and be home by dark. We don't like one-eyed cars riding around because it looks like a motorcycle's approaching us. You know, other traffic, again, can't tell what's going on. And a lot of times if people only have one headlight, they'll ride with that high beam on to try to get more light out of it. Well, that blinds oncoming traffic. So if you have a headlight that gets broken, get it fixed. Sometimes a bulb burns out and we don't realize it. The best way to check your vehicle lights, you don't have to get out of the car. You don't have to go pay somebody to do it. You find one of these nice stores that have the big front plate glass window and look at your reflection. Turn your headlights on, and you can do it in the daytime. You can see your headlights reflecting in those windows. And in the daytime, if you turn them on and you even click your high beams on and off, you can see if they come on. You can check your brake lights the same way. Look in your rearview mirror, check your signals, check your hazard lights. You can do all of this. You can do it at home against your garage door. You can see that light bouncing off your garage door. So if you don't have somebody that can walk around and call out the signals on your car, you can do it yourself. So it could be a light violation. No lights, too many lights. You know, you've seen some people that have the spotlights, looks like on the top of their truck or their Jeep or something. You don't need that. Halogen lights are harsh. Sometimes you can get them adjusted to where they're not pointing up and into people's face a little bit. They're tilted down a little bit, so you can get a mechanic to adjust your headlights sometimes. You ever had a vehicle that you're really good at spotting raccoons in the trees, but you can't see anything on the road? Go get them adjusted. They've gotten out of whack. And it's not doing you any good driving around town when you can see how many trees have got buds on them this time of year. That's another thing. Pull up in front of your garage door and look and see if you're getting two light beams hitting in front of you, or if they're going in a little bit. That's optimal, is to go in just a little bit. If one's over here and one's over there, we got a problem. Your tags. You don't have a license plate on there. It's expired. It's hanging off of your vehicle. It's listed as stolen. We have a couple of tag readers on some of our patrol cars that they're a box, they're mounted on the trunk lid, and they scan all the tags that pass them all the time. They can drive through parking lots and it scans the tags. And if one of those tags is in the system is stolen, it will set off a tone and alert that officer, hey, go look at that. That can also help in cases of missing people. When they're missing and you do a missing persons report on somebody and you can include that tag information, that goes in the same system. Stolen vehicles, missing people, all those kind of suspects in, like if we had a suspect in a bank robbery and somebody got their tag number, that goes in the system as a wanted person. So if they pass them on the interstate or they find the car in a parking lot, then it shows up and lets them know. So, and it reads so many so fast that it's not like they're sitting there flipping through going, oh, that's Jane Smith's car and that's Bob Jones' car, and the officer doesn't have time to read all the information that's flipping through that system. Other equipment violations. Thanks to emissions testing, this is a rare thing, but remember the mosquito trucks that used to come through town? You ever gotten behind a car that made you think of the mosquito trucks? Yeah, so a huge puff of exhaust fumes or smoke, things like that. I stopped a car one night for excessive smoke because his vehicle was messed up and he was refusing to park it. He's damaging the vehicle, but I couldn't see what was going on. You know, there's a cloud of smoke in front of me I can't see. So he's impairing my vision. What other equipment violations can y'all think of?
What happened to the mosquito truck?
I think regulations changed to where they can't use those chemicals anymore. So now we just got to itch.
People put the darkened things on their windows.
The tint on your windows, yes.
Too dark.
Yes, some of it, and some of it is placement. You can have a visor tint on your windshield, but it can't come down into your line of sight. So if you have,
Because I see so many.
there's a
down in this
limit.
area.
There's a limit to the amount of visibility, and that's for officers to be able to see in on traffic stops. It's for us to be able to see in if, you know, there's a car wreck. We need to know if somebody's in that car. If the car's on fire, we need to be able to see in it a little bit better. It's a lot of safety issues, and them seeing out of the car. You know, you've seen tinted windows where you can't see in from one side, and then it's kind of difficult to see out from the other side, and it skews the color of things outside. So we need them to be able to see emergency vehicles to get out of their way. When it's raining, when it's dark, yeah. Tint can affect the vision both ways. Another one would be busted windshields. If there's spider webbing across in front of the driver's face, it's not very good to be driving like that. Now, if there's a crack on your windshield because a rock hit it this weekend, we're probably not going to stop you for that. And if we do stop you, it'll probably be kind of you realize you need to get this fixed, right? The integrity of that windshield is not there anymore. Another little pebble hits it and it may bust even more. There was a picture I saw yesterday, a fellow officer, and I need to get that picture from him. He was in the emissions line, and he looked up behind him, and the car behind him, the windshield was busted on the driver's side, completely busted with a hole in it. And the hole was about that big. And he said he thought, what in the world? So he took his phone and did the little over-the-shoulder picture, you know, because he said he thought, they don't need to be driving that. One, they can't see, and two, that's like, and his quote, that's like bugs in the teeth air coming through. So he said, they don't need to be driving that. Well, he said they get in the building doing the emissions testing, and that car ended up next to him, and he heard the guy say, yeah, I hit a turkey this past weekend. So that makes me wonder if he was like face to face with the turkey or what. But yeah, he had a hole. I guess the turkey, something hit and made a hole, and then it just shattered the rest of it. So yeah, I thought that was pretty good. I got to get a picture of that. That was a pretty good picture too. But those kind of things. If you saw, you know, somebody's dragging a car part behind them, they've had a wreck and they refuse to get it towed, so they want to drive it home, and their fender's dragging the ground, or their bumper's falling off, things like that. Or it may be, you know, that you've got a tire that's flat and you don't realize it, and an officer sees you and stops you. Hey, do you realize your back tire's flat? Well, I thought it was driving kind of funny, but I didn't know. And some days you don't know. Or on some road surfaces, if you're on gravel roads, you may not realize that you had a tire that was really, really low. So those are reasons that an officer might pull you over. When the blue lights turn on, don't panic. Don't slam on your brakes. You know, don't freak out. Go slow your vehicle some, turn on your signal, and start getting to the right. Now, there's a couple reasons to get to the right. You go to the right, because if they're not stopping you and they need to get around you, they're going to go to the left. So give us, police, fire, and ambulance also, if they light up behind you, you pretty well know that they don't want you, they want around you. So just do the same thing when it's blue lights versus red lights. Turn on your signal, go to the right, start getting out of the way if that's what it is. Well, if they go with you, then you know that they're not going somewhere else. You're where they need to go. Move to the right, and then stop in the first safe area that you can find. A parking lot. You know, if you're going down Memorial, there's a gazillion parking lots you can pull into. That's for your safety so nobody hits you, and it's for the officer's safety so the officer doesn't get hit, or the officer's car doesn't get hit and pushed into your car. Because blue lights on the top of a patrol car, for some reason, are very similar to those blue bug lights. Some people are attracted to them. They look right at them and drive right into the patrol car. So we want to give as much safety to everybody as possible. The shoulder of the road, if there's nowhere else, get over on the shoulder as far as you can. The officer's probably going to offset their car to give them a little safety lane there, but the further you can get over, the further they can get over, and the further traffic can go around you all. If there's an open area somewhere, go to that open area. You know, if there's like a 3-lane area, go to the right of that, and that gives the rest of the traffic more room to go. Please don't get in the left turn lane. If you're in the left lane, turn on your right signal and ease your way over to the furthest right side of the road. When you stop in the turn lane, that officer is not only now having to focus on you and what you're doing and what you have and what you're going to do and the traffic that's coming up and passing him now on his right or her right, but then there's oncoming traffic right there too. You ever stood in the turn lane on Broad Street? It'll part your hair even if you don't have a whole lot up there. It's a scary feeling because your attention now is not only on this driver and on the business at hand, it's on everything going on around you. So please go over to the right, on the shoulder and all that. Now, which one of those in this one would you get right here in this turn lane? So you and the traffic's got to go this way over here and go this way over here. That's what I'm talking about. Don't get in the left turn lane, please. That center turn lane. If you ever sit stopped in the turn lane and cars are passing you on each side, you'll feel it rock your car. Well, that's not a fun place to be on foot. This two-lane road got a nice wide shoulder. And if it doesn't have that big of a shoulder, just use whatever shoulder there is. That lets the traffic that's coming this way have room to get over and go around. So we all know where we're going to go if we get pulled over, right? And we know why we might get pulled over. And we know what to do if we come up on somebody else that's already pulled over, right? Okay. Well, you've gotten pulled over and you're sitting there and you're waiting. And you think that he or she must be for sure finishing their lunch, doing their taxes, calling their mama. What in the world are they doing? What is taking them so long, right? You pulled me over. You wanted my attention. Now here I sit. Get on with it. I know that's what you're thinking. While you're sitting there waiting on them, get your license out. Go ahead and get your registration out and get your insurance card out. Try to keep those things where you can get to them, where it doesn't look like you're digging through your purse for one more piece of chewing gum before church gets rolling. Because when we walk up and you have got your head and shoulders in the glove box and papers are flying around like your kids, grandkids looking for their homework, here we go, right? Keep your stuff in a little envelope or whatever where you can just easily get. No, you don't have to have it like hanging on your rearview mirror for everybody to see, but you know what it looks like. Put it in a different colored envelope. Do something so that you can get it out easily. If your license are in your back pocket and you carry a gun, sit tight for a minute. We're going to talk about that. You may want to just wait on getting your license, okay? Just wait. If it's dark outside, flip your inside light on. That brings an officer's stress level down a little bit when they can actually see what's going on in the car. I wish that I could have you all do what Miss Rigsby got to do Tuesday night. She's going through the Citizens Police Academy, and she got to be the officer in a mock traffic stop and walk up to a vehicle that had tinted windows and not know what's going to go on. She knew the reason they were making the stop. She did not know what was going to happen from that point on. If everybody could go through that, they'd be turning on lights, putting their hands up where everybody can see them. It would be such a nice, calm thing for most people. But if it's dark, turn your interior lights on just to let everybody see what's going on. It's going to help you find your paperwork. It helps the officer see how many people they're dealing with and to see that, okay, this is probably going to be, for the lack of a better term, routine. There is no routine traffic stop. That's the news saying that. But keep your hands visible. You can stare at us. You can stick your tongue out at us. You can make faces at us. That don't scare us because nobody has ever been stared to death. Right? But if I can't see your hands are what can kill me. Your hands are what's going to use a gun or a knife or whatever. Your hands are what's going to change the car back into drive and try to take off and run from me. So keep your hands where we can see them. You don't have to do out the window all kind of exaggerated craziness. Just rest them up on the steering wheel. That's good. That way everybody knows what everybody's doing, and when everybody knows what everybody's doing, it calms everybody down. You're going to get approached with, "Hello, sir," versus, "Can I see your hands?" Because if I greet you with "Hello, ma'am," then you're more likely to say, "Hello, officer." versus, can I see your hands? And she says, why? Because in her mind, she's not doing anything, so why are you yelling at me as soon as you walked up to my window, right? She's sitting there with her hands on the wheel, and he walks up and says, hello, ma'am. Hello, officer. Do you know why I stopped you? She may or may not know. She may say, yep, I just drove right through that red light. I didn't stop at that stop sign. I'm late for a birthday party, and I've got the cake in the back of my car. You know, we have reasons that we speed and do things. They may not be valid reasons, but in our mind at the moment they are. So keep your hands up on the steering wheel and just stay calm. There's no reason to freak out. If you have any doubt that the car behind you is a patrol car, turn on your hazard lights, turn on your interior light, and go to a place that's populated or well lit. If you still don't feel really good about it, take your phone and hit the emergency button. Call 911. And most of you can dial 911 on your cell phones with hitting one button. You don't have to pick it up and dial. You can just look at your phones and see if you can hit emergency. You hit the emergency button and dispatch answers. You say, I am on Memorial Boulevard near St. Clair Street. There is a car behind me with blue lights, and I don't believe it's a real police officer. They should be able to radio dispatch to the unit on Memorial making a traffic stop. If nobody answers them, guess who's going to show up on your traffic stop in just a minute? We get real upset when people try to say that they're us and they're not. In today's climate, that doesn't happen a whole lot because not many people want to be us because we're not the most popular, unfortunately. But it happens. Clarksville just had an incident a couple of weeks ago of a couple of yahoos running around. Well, they got caught. And I'm sure their trip to jail wasn't pleasant. I don't think anybody was mean to them, but I don't think it was a pleasant experience for them. So just stay calm. And you can think, what did I do? Did I do anything? And if you know that you didn't do anything wrong, it could be that you got a flat tire. It could be that your tag's gone. You could have gone to the grocery store and you came out and you threw your groceries in. You only had one little bag. You just threw it up front with you. You got in the car and took off, and you didn't realize somebody took the tag off your car while you were in the grocery store. So it could be any reason whatsoever why you're getting pulled over. Just stay calm till you find out what's going on.
Why keep registration?
Why keep it?
Yes. In the car.
Because it's supposed to be in there by law.
But if somebody steals my car, my registration is there.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't that give them an opportunity?
It gives them an opportunity, but in 18 years, I've never worked a case of somebody stealing your car and then going to your house and breaking in. It's a possibility, but it's a very, very low probability. Because if they've stolen your car, where'd you probably call the police to? Your home, because you got a ride home. Or we're going to be watching your home to make sure they don't show up at your house. Plus, if they steal your car, they're wanting to get gone.
That's not the point that I'm trying to make.
Okay.
Registration means that that car,
Uh-huh.
that vehicle number,
Yeah.
don't they have that in order to sell it?
No, that's the title. They've got to have the title to sell it. And never keep your title in your car. The title is your ownership paperwork. The registration just says this tag goes to this car and it belongs to this person. But no, they can't sell it with the registration. If you do have your title free and clear, you don't owe anything on it. Keep it in a lock box, a fire safe, or if you have a safety deposit box, keep it somewhere like that. And do not sign the back of it until you are in the process of selling it. When you have the title and you sign the back of it, if you look at it, it'll say seller. And you sign that, that's an open title. Then, if I get my hands on your car and the keys and that piece of paper, I can go sell it and, oh well. So yeah, that's the title. Yeah.
Can you ever turn the motor off?
On a traffic stop, only if they ask you to. They're probably not going to ask you to. There's really no reason to. You know, if you drive a diesel and it's really loud, then the officer may ask you if you can turn it off, but that's very rare because we have the kind of luck that if we ask you to turn your vehicle off, it wouldn't start again. And when we're done and everybody's ready to go, then there we are with now a upset stranded motorist because we wrote them a ticket. And now we've got to switch gears and pull our car up and try to jump them off or hang out with them for another 30 minutes waiting on a wrecker. when everybody's probably ready to go their separate ways. So it would be a rare situation. A time that you may get asked to turn your car off is if you get stopped because they thought you were a suspect vehicle. That's a whole different kind of traffic stop. And it won't go all the way through, hopefully. A suspect vehicle stop is what we call a felony stop. That is, let's say the convenience store up here on the corner just got robbed, armed robbery. And the suspect vehicle, the vehicle seen leaving, believed to be the suspect vehicle was a black Ford Taurus, occupied by two people with hats on. Well, our officers are going to the crime scene and they meet a black Ford Taurus. And it's 9:30 at night. It's dark outside. They meet a black Ford Taurus and they turn around and they say, I've got a possible suspect vehicle in front of me. We don't know who's in that car. That car looks like the car we were told left the store, so we're not going to take any chances. We're going to get 2 or 3 or more patrol cars gathered up, and we're going to do a traffic stop. Now, I was talking about walking up on a vehicle that's dark inside and you can't see what's going on. If I think this vehicle may be my suspect vehicle, I'm not walking up to that car, because they just robbed a store and they were armed. So I'm pretty well thinking they've got a gun in there and they know what they just did, and So we're going to do it different. We're going to have them stop, and we're going to get our PA system, and we're going to order them out of the car. In that situation, you would be asked, turn your vehicle off, throw your keys out the driver window. That prevents them from running on us. And then we're going to give commands. We're going to have the driver exit the vehicle. We're going to have the passenger exit the vehicle. We're going to bring them back to us. We're going to do things a lot different. Now, if that vehicle was a black Ford Taurus occupied by 2 subjects wearing hats, and it was her and her, do you think they're going to continue until they make them get down on the pavement and cuff them up and all that kind of stuff? I doubt it. Right, I doubt it. Now, if they pull them over and she jumps out of the car and goes, "What is your problem?" It may not go calm at that point. That's where the driver being calm and cooperative sets the tone a lot of times. So if you get pulled over and you know you didn't do anything wrong, they get pulled over and they go, "What? We were at St. Clair and we had, line dancing and we just got through because we volunteered to help clean up." Well, they just came from this area, but we can figure out, okay, they're not the ones we want, and they're going to apologize to them and they're going to send them on their way because we got somebody else we got to find, right? So if you ever get pulled over, keep in mind too, when you see traffic stops on the news, and it's things like a 60-year-old that had to go to the bathroom and she's not allowed to go to the bathroom, the news doesn't show what happened in the 3 minutes prior to the fun stuff. So we don't know what happened that made them go ahead and get her to get on the ground and do whatever. If she came out brandishing something in her hand, or we don't know. So just keep in mind, a lot of times we only see part of the picture when we see on TV or even in the newspaper. Keep an open mind. Any other questions about?
Why would you not turn your car off if you're pulled over?
It may not start again.
Oh, okay.
And
I never thought about not turning it off if I was pulled over, so.
yeah, we just don't. We don't have you turn it off because there's really no reason. And we want your lights to stay on to let oncoming cars see that there's a vehicle there. If it's cold, you can keep your heat on. If it's hot, you can keep your air conditioner on for your comfort and your safety. It's the same reason we don't want you to jump out of your car. Years ago, it used to be that people thought when you get pulled over, you get out of the car. No, don't do that. Don't jump out of the car, because you jump out of the car, we think you're coming to get us. And then we're going to jump out of the car, we're going to go get you. And then everybody's not going to be friends anymore, and we're going to get on the news. 10 seconds of the whole thing will be on the news, and it'll be, did you see that officer being mean to that person? Well, you didn't see them jumping out of the car. So don't jump out of the car. Just hang out. Plus, you jump out of the car, There's other cars coming down the road and we don't want you to get run over. So just hang tight in the car. Keep your hands up where we can see. You don't have to do hands up, just on the steering wheel where they're visible, and stay calm. Now, keep in mind, if you get a ticket, it's just a ticket. Yeah, it might cost money, but you'll have a court date. You can go to court and plead your case. It's just a charge. It's the officer saying, you did this, or I truly believe that you did this. It appeared to me that you did this. It's just a ticket. It's no reason to flip your lid and just absolutely go bonkers. It has happened, okay? We've had people vomit. We've had people get out of their car and take off walking down the road because they were mad. We've had people, threaten the officer's job, accuse the officer of all kinds of things. It's just a ticket. And you're not even convicted at that point. They are just saying, I'm accusing you of driving with no headlights on. For you to get a ticket for driving with no headlights on, you didn't listen for the past 15 minutes. Because usually that's you didn't have your headlights on, are you okay? We get a lot of DUIs out of driving without headlights on. People are drunk, they forget to do things. Important things, like turn their headlights on, call a cab. So it's just a ticket. Now, if you do get a ticket, it's okay to ask questions. Our officers that issue tickets and issue a lot of tickets may end up talking fast, because this is the 27th ticket they've given that day, and they're used to saying, this is a citation for speeding, I need you to sign right here, your court date's blah, 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 and here's the date, and here's the amount, and here's where court is. And you go, huh? They've gone through it 27 times that day. You've never got a ticket before. So it's okay to ask them some questions. I'm sorry, I didn't understand what you said. Could you tell me again what I'm being accused of? Could you tell me again where court is? Is there a phone number on there where I can call the court office and find out about coming to court? Officer, is your name on there in case I think of a question later? If you say, put your name on there so I know who to complain on, they probably won't answer any more questions after that. If you demand a supervisor, they will get one, but they probably won't talk to you between the time you ask for a supervisor and when the supervisor gets there. Because at that point, anything they say is not going to make you happy, so they're just not going to say anything else. So, it's okay for you to clarify what's going on and to know what's expected of you, because if you leave a ticket hanging out there, guess what happens next? The state's going to send you a nice letter saying you don't get to drive anymore because you violated your privilege of having a driver's license. Oh yeah, having a driver's license is a privilege. It's not a right. Your generation knows that's a privilege. The generation that I'm part of and the one behind me think that everything is a right, including driving. It's not. It can get taken away. Now, if you carry a weapon, so I knew that question was going to come up. Well, what if I have a gun? Okay, we got them too. That's fine. Most of our officers like guns. Leave it where it's at. Don't let them walk up and you go, I got a gun. Because we are very much in the you show me yours, I'll show you mine category. And we don't show you ours like this, okay? So if there's a gun in the car or even on your person, fine. Leave it where it is. Put your hands on the steering wheel like I've already told you to do. When the officer gets up there and they said, do you know why I stopped you? No, I don't, but I want you to know that I do have a gun in the vehicle. Everything else is not important at that moment. They're going to say, without reaching for it, can you tell me where it is? Don't talk with your hands at that point. Say, it's in the glove box. It's in the console. It's on my right hip. It's in my left front pocket. Just tell them where it is. At that point, they very well may ask you to exit the vehicle. That makes them feel better, and it keeps you from making them uncomfortable, and you end up uncomfortable because you say it's in the console, and they say, okay, well, I need your driver's license, and you go, okay, and you reach in the console. We don't want to do that. So they'll probably say, can you step out of the vehicle? Step out of the vehicle. Some officers, if the gun is on your person, they will ask you to put your hands up and they will take it off of your person. I probably wouldn't. I would just say, do me a favor and don't reach anywhere around your right hip, okay? Matter of fact, just take your right hand and kind of put it over there on your shoulder and let's just stand here like this and talk, because I'm okay with that. Some are not. Leave it where it is, tell the officer, and don't reach for it or retrieve it. Now, don't be a sneaky one and think, I just ain't gonna tell them. Because when they run your driver's license for your driving history, it pops up in there and tells us if you have a carry permit. So if you have a carry permit, just tell them. Most people carry their carry permit right next to their driver's license anyway. But just tell the officer, I've got a gun, or I have a carry permit, but I don't have my gun with me today. You know, just as long as you bring it up and just talk about it like a normal person, we're good. Okay? That's no different than saying, hey, I've got a duffel bag in the back seat. As long as it's just got an emergency kit in it, we're good. If it's got a couple pounds of marijuana, we've got a different story, right? Okay.
Can't you just show them your carry permit at the same time you show them the license?
You can hand it to them, yeah, that's fine. Or you can just say, here's my permit, but I don't have my gun with me. Or here's my license and my permit, and my gun's in the glove box. That's fine. Because it is legal to have you don't have to have a permit to have a gun in the vehicle, okay? So just so y'all know that. DUIs. Be very careful. They're not always alcohol related. Several of us end up on medications as we go through our little aging process, and some medications can create problems. Check your medication labels for precautions. If it says on there, do not drive or operate machinery, may cause dizziness or drowsiness, ask the pharmacist, is this going to affect me driving? They know. That's part of their job, is to be able to tell you about your medication. So ask questions. When the doctor is telling you they're going to put you on a certain medication, ask them then, is this going to affect my ability to drive? Is this going to make me dizzy? Is this going to affect my balance? Is it going to affect my vision? How is this medicine, what's it going to do to me? And if they say, well, it's just going to lower your blood pressure. Well, yeah, I know that's the purpose of it, but what else is it going to do to me? Because they've never given out any medication in the history of medicine, I don't think, that didn't have a side effect. Right? So ask questions. Do what the doctor says. If the doctor says you don't need to drive while you're taking this medicine, well, guess what? Somebody else has got to be your taxi driver for however long you're on that medication. It's just not worth it. Put your stubborn in a box and just, give in to the fact that, hey, somebody's got to drive me around for a week. I get to have a chauffeur. Don't drive. It's not worth having a wreck, and it's not worth a DUI. A DUI is going to cost you a bunch of money. It is a criminal charge. It's not a traffic citation. It is a criminal charge. If you're convicted of a DUI, you will spend 24 hours in jail. You will pay fines that are probably $2,000 or $3,000 total. You won't be able to drive for a year. And then you have to buy super special, very expensive insurance. Isn't having a driver for a little while nicer than all that? So if your medicine says don't drive, don't drive. Find somebody else to get you around. That's the DUI law. Right here it says driving under the influence of an intoxicant, drug, or drug-producing stimulant, prohibited alcohol concentration in blood or breath. It's driving under the influence of an intoxicant or a drug or alcohol. And if you have medication that says don't mix with alcohol, then you don't get to have your glass of wine. You don't get to have your shot of whiskey or your cold beer when you get them mowing the yard. Don't mix them. The doctor's going to tell you not to mix them, and I'm going to tell you not to mix them for your health and for your safety. And do not mix them with keys, please. Keys, car keys, don't get out on the road. You've got a 2,000-pound object that you're driving however many miles an hour, and your reaction time is messed up. It's not worth it. Again, it says under the influence of any intoxicant. Some over-the-counter medications are an intoxicant. Some allergy medicines that make you drowsy, some cold and cough syrups that make you drowsy. Don't be out driving with that stuff because your abilities are impaired, and it's just not worth it. It's not worth getting in trouble, but it's not worth having a wreck and getting yourself hurt or hurting somebody else. If you have a wreck and you're under the influence of an intoxicant and somebody dies in that wreck, that's a vehicular homicide charge. That's a murder charge. And nobody wants that. So stay home or get somebody else that drives Mr. or Mr. Daisy. An emergency kit in your vehicle. Do all of you carry, especially in inclement weather, that's when it's most important. Carry at least a day's worth of your medication dosage with you. Get one of those little dose pack things and carry at least a day's worth of medication with you. Some of you may have medication that if you don't take it every 12 hours, then it sends you into a tailspin. Keep at least a dose with you to make it through 24 hours, okay?
And then if you're stopped without having the bottle, do you get in trouble?
Your age group is a lot less likely to get in trouble. You could also keep like the front cover, the front page. You know, the pharmacy staples 47 pages of stuff to your package. Just keep one of those labels. Put those like in an envelope and put it in your purse. And if you get stopped, you can say, look, I have this medication and here's my labels from the pharmacy, you know.
Did you say we need to do that every day?
It wouldn't be a bad idea. It wouldn't be a bad idea to keep it on you just in case, because when you leave the house, there's no guarantee you're going to come home at the time that you think you're going to come home. So it wouldn't be a bad idea to be self-sustaining for a day. You know, we could be here and there could be a bomb threat at Westbrook Towers, and so we do a lockdown here. I mean, that's not protocol, but for example, and you may get stuck somewhere for a little while. You never know. So having it's better than not having it. Yes?
Are we supposed to stop when that little rover bus stops, or can you go around it?
He's like the mailman.
Yeah, and the mailman.
He's like the mailman. You can go around them if you can do it safely. Signal, get in the left lane, and
It's not like a school bus.
it's not a school bus, no. No, they only load from that right side. It's not like a school bus. School buses have stop signs on them and all that. The rover bus, no. It's courteous, but no.
Consider it safe, you can go around.
If you can get around him safely on the left side of him,
Okay, yeah.
then you can, yes, yes. Another thing to keep in your vehicle is a blanket. It doesn't have to be a huge blanket, and a lot of y'all make blankets, so just make a blanket, a little blanket. If it's cold outside and let's say you run off the road or you slide off the road out of sight, and your car is disabled so your heater's not working, keep a little blanket. This little blanket doesn't take up a lot of space. But if it's cold, I could curl up under that. I mean, that's just a little thin piece of fleece that rolls up with a little Velcro strap. So you could keep one of those in your car and it not take up a whole lot of room. And in a wreck, that ain't gonna hurt you, right? Because remember, loose items in your car become a projectile in a crash. So a blanket is a good thing to keep. Who has a charging cord for their phone? You have a phone and you leave the house and it's fully charged and you've gone all day and you're on your way home that evening and it's dark and you've got 12% on your phone because that battery's getting old, or you've been out in the cold a lot today, or you've been on Facebook all day, or whatever, right? And your battery's about to go dead, so you need a cord to charge your phone. Now, your home charger, a lot of times, this flat end, this USB end, plugs into a thing and it plugs into the wall, correct? How many of you have a car charging adapter? If you don't have one, I have a few with me today. This same flat end plugs into this and it plugs into the cigarette lighter and it will charge your phone. It may not charge as fast as the wall at home does, or you plug it in and you have enough juice that you can call 911, or you can call your spouse, or you can call AAA, or whatever. You can call somebody to keep you from sitting in the car all night with your little blanket and your little bottle of water, right?
If your car's not running, does that work?
Yeah, it'll still pull enough off the battery to give your phone enough to make a phone call or two. Yeah, yeah. They'll have a charging unit.
They have
They may have a USB port that will charge. They'll have something.
Did you buy, special ones for in your car?
You can.
Yeah, you don't have to have them on, yeah, but I mean,
But-
it's all connected.
Yeah. First aid kit. Doesn't have to be a huge one.
What about this?
That's fine, but you got to remember to keep that charged too.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, if it's charged, that's great. Those little battery packs, those little external batteries,
How long is this supposed to last though?
you'd have to read the packaging that was on it when you got it. I would just get on a schedule and play and charge that every couple of days or whatever and just try to keep it charged. This little first aid kit's got a couple of Band-Aids and it's got a little antiseptic wipe and it's got some triple antibiotic ointment. So if you have a wreck and you scrape your eye right here, well, while you're sitting there waiting on somebody to come find you off in the ditch, you can at least get the blood to slow down or stop, right? If all else fails, you get your sock and hold it up there. Something, right? I mean, but it's just a little first aid kit. It's not huge, but something. You can get the bigger, nicer ones, and I would advocate getting a bigger, nicer one, but for lack of anything else, have something. Who has a whistle in their car? If you've got a whistle in your car and you're off the edge of the road, there's been cars run off the edge of the road and nobody saw them. And when you hear people out looking and searching and you start blowing a whistle, well, if they're out in the country and they hear a whistle, that's not a normal sound, you could call help to you with a whistle. A lot of people say to carry them on your keychain, so if you're approached in a parking lot, you can whistle and scare somebody. That's fine, but when you have a lot of adrenaline pumping through your system, you may overblow the whistle. So instead of getting that real shrill tweet, you may get a, there you go. That's not real intimidating, right? So just keep that in mind, but I've got some whistles that I'll give some of you. Who carries Band-Aids? Band-Aids. Bandages, self-adhesive, I guess I shouldn't say Band-Aids, self-adhesive bandages, right? Just a few little Band-Aids. I carry Band-Aids in my purse. My kids think it's hilarious because they'll say, you got a Band-Aid? Yeah. I cut myself too. I paper cut myself to death. I'm going to die by 1,000 paper cuts one of these days. But some Band-Aids because you never know. What else do I have? That's about all I have. Another good thing is some water. Keep a couple bottles of water in your car. Protein bars. Because if you run off the side of the road and you have to have food, take medication with food, well, you could choke down part of a protein bar just to get enough in your stomach that medication would have something to mix with. If you get stuck in traffic, yes. If you get stuck in massive inclement weather backups, you probably shouldn't have been on the road to begin with. I'm sorry. We just got through, well, it's still in the works, a new announcement about inclement weather driving. And the number one thing is check the road conditions before you leave. If anybody's saying don't go, then, don't go. Now, if it's a follow-up appointment with your heart doctor because you had heart surgery last week, maybe get to Nashville the night before, get a hotel room, and then call a cab to get you the 3 blocks over to the doctor's office. I know there's some things that you really need to get somewhere for, but y'all didn't make it to today without having some common sense. Use it. And when you get that feeling in your gut that something's not right, you're not smarter than it. Quit trying to be smarter than instinct. Go with it. You know if it's really a police officer or if it's some yahoo that's out to see how many people's wallets he can steal because he says, no, leave your license in your wallet, give me the whole thing. We don't say that. We'll say, can you get your license out of there because I don't want your whole wallet.